Welcome back to Rescue Bots Academy Season 2. Today we're taking a look at the episode X Marks the Bot. In this episode, the recruits travel to Ireland to solve an ancient Cybertronian mystery. As we begin this episode, the recruits are playing Cube.
Use my signature move, the Hotshot Hop and Grab.
You really need better names for your moves.
I agree with Wedge here.
How about something like this? I call it the Whirl Swirl.
I like Whirls better. The recruits are introduced to Finn O'Reilly, a geology researcher based in Griffin Rock. Although, judging from his accent, I'm guessing he's originally from Ireland.
I was home in Ireland recently working on an archaeological dig. Where I'm from, we've got hurling, the fastest field game in the world.
Now, I'm not afraid to admit that this actually confused me at first. When Finn said hurling, I initially thought he was talking about that competition where you try and throw a big log or pole as far as you can. How can a game like that be called the fastest in the world? Turns out I was thinking of the caber toss, which is actually a Scottish game, not an Irish one. Hurling is actually very similar to lacrosse, at least from what I can tell. I wasn't able to find a video or article explaining exactly what the differences are between the two sports, but from what I can determine, they just seem to have slightly different equipment and rules, but still very similar idea at the core of the game. Is it just me, or does the relic that Finn finds remind anyone else of a Minicon plate from Transformers Armada? Seriously, I'm kinda surprised that a little robot didn't come out of this thing. I'm also a little surprised and disappointed that when Medix reads the Cybertronian message projected by the plate, what he says is exactly what is written in Cybertronian text. I was kind of hoping that when I translated this, there would be some kind of secret message like, "Hey Ultra Primal, we love your video reviews, keep up the good work, Boulder Media." Or, it could have been something like, "Be sure to drink your Energon." That would have worked too.
A crummy commercial?
But no, what Medix says is exactly what's written here. So the ancient Cybertronian holokey shows them an image of a book that Finn says is in a library of an old college in Dublin. They don't specify which college exactly, but judging from the outside appearance of the one that they visit in the show, and then comparing it with some Google images, I'm guessing that this is supposed to be Trinity College. I wonder why they didn't name it directly, like they do with some other landmarks in Ireland later in the episode. Maybe there's some legal reason why they can't specifically name it. Like maybe the college has a trademark or something on the building, and Boulder Media and Hasbro would need to pay some kind of license in order to officially reference them in the show. Kind of like how you legally can't film the Hollywood sign without getting express permission from the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce. Maybe that's why they didn't name the college specifically, and why when you compare the image of the college in the show to the real thing, it's very similar, but there are a few key differences that make it legally distinct. They find the book and it unlocks a clue in the Hollow Key, this time taking them to the Hag's Head on the west coast of Ireland, which is actually a real place in Ireland. The clue there then leads them to Giant's Causeway, also in Ireland, and also a real thing. And to my surprise, this is actually a natural formation, not man-made. I thought for sure that these large hexagonal tones were cut by ancient humans. Apparently they were formed naturally when molten lava was forced up through fissures in the earth.
According to myth, this causeway is where two ancient giants once fought one another.
And what Finn says here is also real. There is a real-life myth about two giants who fought here, an Irish giant and a Scottish giant. And the Irish giant was even named Finn, just like Finn here. So, while trying to solve the final clue, Hotshot falls into a cavern and inadvertently finds the treasure that they've been searching for. But it turns out not to be treasure at all, but is instead Tox N, which, as we learned in Transformers Prime, is actually a highly poisonous version of Energon that can paralyze and eventually kill Cybertronians who come near it. Think of it as basically the Transformers version of Kryptonite. I am quite surprised that they referenced Tox N in this show. Not just because it links way back to Transformers Prime, but more so because this is supposed to be a little kid's show, and Hotshot nearly dies from being exposed to it. Luckily, Finn jumps in to rescue the rescue bot, and Hotshot learns that humans are useful after all. And they conclude the story with the revelation that apparently an ancient Autobot was working with a human to hide the toxin from another evil robot. Possibly a Decepticon, judging from the head design, which looks vaguely Decepticon-like. I'm a bit disappointed that neither of these are any recognizable Transformers. How cool would it have been if these were two of the original 13? Like say Alchemist Prime and Liege Maximo, or Vector Prime and Megatronus. This was a fun episode. I liked how the rescue bots traveled all over Ireland following clues, and I actually learned a lot about Ireland. However, it just makes me wish that we had more globe-trotting adventures with the rescue bots. I mean, me personally, I think it would be cool if the rescue bots visited Canada. Maybe they could go searching for Wendigo or Ogopogo and discover that it's actually a long-lost Cybertronian. It's interesting to note that this is the first time we see a human ride inside one of the rescue bot recruits. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've ever seen them do that in any previous episode. The only human it might have been would have been Cody, but I don't recall ever seeing him ride inside one of the recruits. And Finn actually gets to ride inside Hotshot twice, and in two different modes. Once in his ATV mode, and then again in his jet mode. It's also weird how out of character Hotshot is in this episode. The way he's almost racist against humans. Or would it be more like speciesist? The way he constantly dismisses and tries to one-up Finn. When all this time, they've had Cody as one of their teachers. And I would think that he'd know by now that humans are valuable allies. What with all the times that the recruits have worked with Cody, Wes, and other humans. This seemed very out of character for Hotshot. Honestly, him wanting to find the treasure was enough. I don't think we needed him to suddenly become bigoted towards humans for no reason. Well, despite that, this was still a fun episode. I liked learning about Ireland, even if it did make me wish there was an episode where the rescue bots visited Canada. Say, Boulder Media is based in Ireland, aren't they? I bet that's why they did this episode on their home country. Now, if only we could get a Transformers show made by a Canadian animation company again. Maybe then we could have the Transformers visit Canada. And who knows, maybe even slip in a reference to a Transformers fan and fellow Canadian like yours truly. You know, like so many other lucky fans have gotten in the past.
He's wacko.
Wacko? No! One-co! One-co the same!
As always, let me know what you thought of this episode down in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, and do all that other fun stuff. And I'll see you next time for another Transformers Rescue Bots Academy episode review.